Hi folks, it's Saturday evening. I'm giving you my weekend update today and I'll take off tomorrow. So I was just finishing up watching the governor's report for today. So I'll give you some of the highlights that I had for my takeaways from that and sort of recap where we are because things are starting to open up. We're on the downside of the slope, and that means some good news, even for those of us in the regions that haven't started the phased reopening. As I mentioned yesterday, there are 3 things that have opened up statewide now that are activities that everyone in New York State can now participate in, and that is landscaping more broadly. Until this point, it was just basic maintenance. Now, if you need to plant a tree, you can plant a tree. Drive-in movie theaters, and there are some in our region, and somebody told me about one that was closer than the ones that I was aware of, so there are a few drive-in movie theaters in the area, and some sports like tennis. And I did get an update from our recreation department because, of course, we have tennis courts in Nelson Park, and I understand that the clay is being delivered very soon. It's been, I think, in the next week or so, we're going to get, those are clay courts, so they need a fair amount of maintenance to be able to open up for the season. And then that will be one of the sports that'll be opening, and obviously ordering a lot more signage because the rules this year will be different than they have been in the past. I believe it's only singles, no doubles, and I'll get you all the details on that as that is opening up in the village, and I fingers crossed that that's the case. One of the other changes that happened this week is hospitals are now in Westchester and Suffolk, not statewide, but in Westchester and Suffolk, we are able to have some elective surgeries in the hospital in our area. And sort of the big news is beaches. New York State beaches, as part of the larger region, the state beaches are going to be opening next weekend. I can't believe it's already Memorial Day, but next weekend, state beaches will be opening, and I guess we'll have to wait and see if there are county or local beaches in our area that will be opening. There will be obviously some social distancing requirements, no volleyball, no concession stands. I'm not sure exactly how that'll work out. I'm not sure that how soon I'll be at the beach with my family. I'm interested to see how that unfolds. And then there's some more things under consideration. Locally, we've started exploring how open streets might work. And in the past, when we call it open streets because that creates more open space. But in the past, if somebody's, for example, shut down a block for a block party, that's to actually create a space for people to gather in large groups, which is the opposite of what we want. So if we're going to consider having some changes in access to some of our streets on either a short-term basis or an extended for the season basis, we have to be very thoughtful about how can we maintain emergency vehicles. Are we doing this to support local businesses, and is this an effective way to be able to have restaurants open up this summer and still have enough seating that they can actually really get back into a financially viable situation? They've been so dependent on takeout and delivery for the last couple of months. And by the end of June, if all goes well, we could theoretically be sitting 6 feet away from somebody at a table in Ossining. That would be very exciting. And then the other thing that the governor was talking about was, are there sports events that can be opening up without fans present? The first thing that looks like it's likely to open would be racetracks, but then there's also talk of things like baseball games. My son was telling me that at his Zoom soccer practice last week, they were talking about soccer games getting back underway. Again, no fans, but it gives us something to watch on television, and we can cheer from home. One thing that the governor mentioned that I'm going to talk about is what is really the role of the state versus the federal government versus the local government. And just this week, the U.S. House passed the next phase of stimulus, which would include funding for states and local governments. And it would also include repealing the SALT tax, which is something we felt very deeply here in Westchester, where we pay such high taxes on our property and have had the amount that we could deduct capped for the last couple of years. So repealing that would be a big help for us here, and then having some funding come from the federal government distributed to the state and local governments could make a big difference for all of us being able to be solvent and follow through with our budgets for this year and next. But the thing the governor said was, what state government does is they fund schools, hospitals, and local governments. And it was helpful to me to hear him put it in such a concise way. And it also, for those of us in local government, it's something that I take a lot of pride in, that we have all of our federal government does big picture things, international boundaries and borders and wars and big picture policies. And then in the state government, they do a lot of the distribution of tax dollars. Both money that they take in from income taxes on a state level and money that they get from the federal government to distribute. And then when you get all the way down here to the local level, that's where we actually put the money into the community. That's where we pay the people to keep us safe in the police department, to pick up our trash in the sanitation department, to pave our roads with the public works department, to maintain our parks. That's really when all the money goes into our day-to-day lives in our community. And that's why it's so important to be engaged with your local government. And I'm grateful to have so many folks in Ossining who are engaged, who are watching this video and who are sending us emails. People are still sending me emails every day for one reason or another. And in some ways, the emails are a little different than they used to be, probably because people are spending so much more time at home and in their communities. They're noticing things differently. And it's one of the joys of working in local government, is to be able to see the impact of the decisions that we make, all of those tax dollars that we spend every time we support a local business, and we see that we are contributing directly to our community. And I was just reminded of how special it is to be able to work in local government in a community that I care so much about. And really what the big difference is between state government and local government is we're not distributing money to other levels of government. We're spending the money right here where the rubber meets the road, right here in our community. And there's something really special about that. And I guess that's why I enjoy working in local government so much, and why I don't really have a desire to seek higher office. Anyway, gone on a bit of a tangent. Next week is Memorial Day weekend. I'm not going to be breaking out the bathing suit yet and heading to New York State beaches, but I know some people will, and we'll see how that goes. The governor did say today we do expect with the phased reopening that there will be some increase in the rate of transmission. The concern would be if there's a spike. So I am concerned that I've seen some folks. I was at the farmer's market today, and most people were maintaining social distance and wearing their masks, but there was a young family. The woman wasn't wearing a mask at all, and the father had his mask off of his face, which was really concerning to me. You just don't see that very often when people are going to a space where they know they're going to be in close contact with people. And so I guess it's good that stands out as the anomaly, and everyone else was really in compliance and doing their best to maintain distance and wear their masks. And it's more important than ever that we do that as we do have the phased reopening, because otherwise we're going to get stuck or go backwards, and that's certainly not what anybody wants. It's exciting to see things happening. It's exciting to even be able to do landscaping and maybe just know that somebody's going to play tennis. I don't play tennis, but that somebody will. I'm really glad to be going in this direction, but it does mean that we have to be even more vigilant with maintaining all of the practices we have been with washing our hands, sanitizing our hands, wearing our masks, keeping our distance, so that we can have some progress in that phased reopening. And maybe this summer we'll get to go out to dinner and sit at a table and let somebody else serve us instead of being in our house and dealing with our own space that I think we're all getting a little sick and tired of. All right. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. It certainly was another gorgeous day today. I would look forward to talking with you on Monday, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more for us to update on. Bye-bye.